Hello and welcome to Soul Basics Soul Chat. Today we are talking with Amber Rose. Amber is an artist and a poet, a manifestor of miracles, and a seeker of all things enlightened. She is certified in energy psychology, hypnosis, and reiki, and she is the founder of Bright Life Personal Development. Although Amber deals with chronic health conditions, she chooses not to suffer, but rather fills herself and others up with love and laughter. It is a pleasure to have you here with us today, Amber. Could you please share with us your path to a brighter, happier life?
Good morning, everyone. Yes, and it is a pleasure for me to be here too. I am flattered that I got to be on your show and talk with us. Your guests have been amazing, and it is just so great to be here. So, my story. Oh my goodness, I am an effervescent. I am a person who always looks at the glass half full, because not because though things always good happen to me, but things always do happen to me that are good. I have a miraculous life. I've always said it's charmed, but at first take, you don't always see that. You see my snorkel, you see the things that have gone on in my life. And, I've been a single mom and I raised my kids by myself. I've had some tumultuous relationships and great loss. And yet the blessings keep coming. And I think it was probably it's 8 years ago that I started having the issues, and I have a rare blood disorder that basically I make too many blood cells, and it's called polycythemia vera. It's quite rare, but the weird thing is because I don't manifest anything normal, let's not be there. It's supposed to be high red cells, but I do high red cells and white cells, so it mimics very much leukemia whenever you're brought in. So an idea is that a person with normal blood count would have, let's say, 7,000 white blood count, blood cells. I have 50,000.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah. So it took years to figure out the diagnosis, and then years more. My lungs, I started breathing funny, and this isn't COPD. This is that I actually make blood in my lungs like bone marrow. So that is, no one's ever done that before. No one could figure out what was wrong with my lungs because they're perfectly healthy, but completely swollen. It took me 3 years of diagnosis, not being able to breathe. Found out I have 50% lung capacity at this point. And when they did the biopsy, they're just like, it's like bone marrow in there. All there is cells everywhere. They call this, which took me a while because even pulmonologists don't know this. And they're saying, that's not how the body works, young lady. I was like, well, no, I just don't know the term, but it's pulmonary extramedullary hemopoiesis. And that literally means I make blood in my lungs. Not like I'm bleeding, not like I'm doing it there. They're getting, distributed through my body. And it's a rare and weird thing. And I got diagnosed with it, but it then caused, third thing, pulmonary hypertension. So that's how they're treating me. They can only treat my symptoms, and none of the things that they have an absolute cure for. So I have self-suppressants to get my blood levels down, and I'm taking pulmonary hypertension medicines to stop my heart from working too hard. And that's why I have the oxygen, because if I'm not on that, my poor little heart is like beating like an athlete. Fancy that. My thighs are still fat. I just don't even understand that. That is just not even fair. I crave
Oh,
carbs. I'm like, I don't understand. I need carbs. I've never needed carbs as much as I've needed them now. And my doctor's like, that's because your respiratory system is working like an athlete
right,
just to get enough oxygen.
right.
Unfortunately, your muscles aren't getting any use, but because they're not getting enough oxygen. So with this, I'm allowed to exercise. My life had this time last year, which this has been a process of like, I guess 2019, I went for my lung biopsy and everything started. They started treating me for the polycythemia. They started treating me for everything. And it got better and worse and better and worse. I see like 8 doctors. I go to Tampa, which is 250 miles away,
Right.
twice a year to see the specialists. And even they said, it was so funny. I was just like, I was waiting, because I'm at the specialist. These are international people with panels of doctors. And they said, we've never seen anything like this. I will never see a slide like this in my children's lifetime. And he was getting phone calls. He goes, you got to see these slides. You got to see these slides. He was just so excited. I like ignited his passion for his profession again. And I'm like, well, I'm glad it helped, but it's kind of scary that you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I went from being really like bedridden last year, like not being able to get out of bed, to I'm doing a little dance class online. I do a little body grooving. I can't do what they're doing, but I can still move myself for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I get 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day, slowly, easy, but I'm doing fantastic. But I don't maintain, and everybody says, well, why are oh, Amber, you don't even look sick. Well, I do this on purpose. Like every day. And when I slipped, when I had to, when I went backwards, I started taking Spanish classes because I knew if I could just get my body to think, well, I'm learning Spanish. I can't die if I'm learning Spanish.
No.
If you move your head, if all your brain cells go to life and new things, it's busy learning instead of like living this other life that's happening to me.
That's right.
So it focuses on the good. The body always does that. And I know this. This is what I studied. This is, between all my therapies that I do, Psych K, hypnosis, NLP, it's all about understanding the cell's ability to go towards the healing. So you have to, I do little things. I change the way I brush my hair. If you brush it with your right, brush it with your left. If you brush your teeth with your left, brush it with your right. So I did all these things, even
Yeah.
cutting paper, all these things, tiny little things. I couldn't get out of bed, but I could change my mind.
Yeah.
And I could move this way. And every day I put my makeup on. Day, tell me I look like hell today. I you need to like get like, oh, you look great. You got a thing. And then you go, yeah, I look great. I feel good. So the little things piled up help me deal with all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, you have the light that shines from within you. I can just see it and it's just exuding out. And you have a beautiful, bright light for so many people to follow. And I'm so grateful that you have been able to see the cup half full instead of half empty. And
Me too.
yeah, um, because you have so much love and light to give to others. I'm just
Thank
gonna
you.
just backtrack a little bit. I'm
Sure.
curious. So, would they consider this like an autoimmune disorder, or how does that work?
Well, it is kind of an autoimmune because it just happened. It's randomly happened. It just nothing in they don't even have record of it happening before,
Right.
and it happened. So they put that under autoimmune. My blood
Okay.
disorder is under cancer. So
Okay.
because it's a slow cancer. That's controllable, but it usually happens to people who are much older, in their late 60s,
Okay.
early 70s. That went to my boss. Oh my God. My feelings are so hurt. I just turned 50, and she says, well, how are you going to deal with all of this? And I said, I'm young, I'll adjust. And she said, young, you're 50. And I was just like, oh my God, what a horrible perspective that you have.
It is
I'm
a
like, I'm
horrible
old.
perspective. No, that's
I was like,
young.
and then you told me that? I was like so hurt that she would say that, because even if someone was saying, they were stacking up all the good things that were happening, and you said, that's not true. That's an awful mean thing to do. And it was like, what do you mean? I'm old? I didn't even know I was old yet.
Nope, not even, nope. I don't,
Not
I
even
don't,
going there. What the hell? I'm young. I'll adjust.
absolutely. You're 100% young. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Amber, tell us about these things that you do. Tell us what energy psychology is.
Okay, so energy psychology is the brain and the mind and the subconscious and the conscious mind. There's so many arguments for what it does, but the truth is you have two hemispheres and you have your amygdala. Okay, so all of these things, like hypnosis, for instance, it was the forerunner of everything, because they realize that you're highly suggestive when you get into hypnosis, which means you're in this in-between world. And then you could actually file stuff in. And we are all pretty familiar with how that works. Psyche, for instance, that I'm a practitioner of, it's my favorite thing. It works instead of 10 million sessions. It is absolutely, you can get through your subconscious behaviors and breakthroughs in 2 to 5 minutes. Really,
Really?
really, you link your left and right brain together, and they have a conversation. It takes you out of your amygdala and all of the cortisol, the 15,000 things that your chemicals, excuse me, chemicals that run through your body. It completely dissipates them, because when you get into your fear brain, everything stops. You're not using your left and right hemispheres.
Okay.
You stop, you go into um, fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
You can't think, you panic, you get through all this stuff, and you no longer you're using your subconscious mind to deal with everything.
Right.
The subconscious mind is like 6 years old. It is just like, what? It doesn't see a lion, it doesn't have a language. Okay, so reprogramming your subconscious mind, you can say all the affirmations you want, but it doesn't speak English. So your ego's getting a little bit of a push. And that's why repetition works so great, because eventually your actions go all the way into your subconscious.
Right.
The subconscious, it runs 95% of your body.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, for instance, if someone knocked on your door, you go, I'm going to go up and get it. If your subconscious was frightened of the door, you wouldn't be able to move a muscle. There's no way you could even get up without the subconscious doing it. You know this when you drive a car. Remember the first day you drove a car?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know how you were going to watch the road, change gears, do two pedals, and listen to the radio at the same time. Was just like, what? I couldn't even drive with someone in the car. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is complicated because you're even here. I've got to think so hard.
Right.
A month later, you're driving down the road, you're changing gears, you're doing stuff, you're having full conversations. You get home and you don't even remember how you got there. You just ended up there.
Yeah, that's so true.
That's the subconscious doing its thing. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It works at something like 52 billion bits per second. And your conscious mind works at 52 bits per second. That's the difference.
Really.
Okay. So when you get out of your fear brain with simple exercises, it's like, I can tell you a couple of things, and I'll show you the tools in just a second. But if you to get out of your amygdala, you have to use a thing called, Brain Gym calls it whole brain. Okay. And literally crossing your wrists and your ankles and crossing your ankles and putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about your problem. And you're out of your fear brain, the cortisol goes away, the adrenaline goes away, and all the other 15,000 chemicals of your panic attack that's about to happen dissipates in like 2 minutes. It's gone. And you can now think.
Okay, I'm gonna just repeat that. Cross your legs, like your legs or your ankles?
Ankles.
Ankles. Okay, so my ankles are
Cross
crossed
your legs at your
and my
ankles.
wrists like this, and put them together.
Right.
Okay. Now, do
You
they
can
need to
have them
be
like
crossed
this, like
right over left?
Eagle pose. There's muscle testing that you can do for which is the best way, but when you're doing a stress release,
Okay.
like when stuff is going down, I kind of just here and then here. Or
This is where I show how uncoordinated. Okay, there we go. There we go.
Oh, it's difficult. It's
Okay.
not easy. And you can, if you can't, and even if you, I'm telling you now, for people who don't have use of their hands or their legs, you need to just visualize yourself doing it, crossing over the center of your body.
Okay. Okay.
And you breathe in.
And then the tongue to the roof of your mouth.
We'll use you as we'll do it a really wonderful exercise.
Okay.
So,
okay. My ankles are crossed. My right is over my left.
Really ticked off with? Do you have anybody like a stressful situation that you're like ticked off with?
Okay, if I pick my husband, is that bad? No, just kidding.
No, that's absolutely
fine. I'm just kidding. Okay, here we go.
We all have.
Okay.
Okay. So I want you to, before we start, I want you to think of an argument you had that you know and still are right about 15 years later.
Okay.
Okay. I want you to get to that state and remember all the horrible things you said to each other and how much it hurt your feelings. I really want you to get there. I want you to tell me between 1 and 10, how angry are you about this situation?
Okay, I'm not picking him. I'm going to pick something else, but here we go.
No, all right. Whoever it is. But
okay.
That situation, give me something that's really ticking you off.
Okay.
All right. Now, give me a number. Is it between 1 and 8, 1 and 10? How upset are you at this situation?
If I really think about it, I could probably get to like. I want
you to really think about it. This is the key. You have to be like, let's get angry about this again in your head. You don't have to talk about it.
Okay.
Get there. Okay. What they said, what you said. How ticked off are you?
Okay, I'm probably about a 6. I try really not to get ticked off. So, okay, I'm probably about a 6.
But okay, so we're going to give it a 6. We're going to give it a good 6. And now I want you to do this. Close your eyes.
Okay.
Put your tongue to the roof of your mouth.
Okay.
I want you to breathe in. I want you to think about everything you said. Everything you said to each other. The stress, the disruption in your relationship because you couldn't communicate with them, that they didn't understand. I want you to really think about the problem, not push it away. I want you to bring it up and let it bubble to the top. I want you to notice through your body. Where do you notice that it comes up? It's not for you to say, just notice where it is. And then breathe into that area. Feel those feelings. Allow them to come up. Things might get worse before they get better. And allow them to come to the surface. When you feel a change in your body and your feelings of peace and detachment about the situation, you may open your eyes. Again, it may take a few minutes, but you'll know because it'll be released in your body.
Yeah, it did release. It did release. I felt really tense. I felt really tense in my thighs, like in my buttocks and my thighs. It was just like, I was just like in knots. And it was like, and it felt like, and I kept thinking it was like a situation I couldn't run from. And I was feeling it in my legs, which I thought was really odd. And then all of a sudden it just,
so you breathe into
it just released.
let it happen.
Yeah.
And then Now, what I want to do, this is what I call my save button. Okay. So
Okay.
you put your fingers like a diamond shape.
Okay.
And then I want, this is a little trick because this is an NLP part, right? So you have your face directly forward.
Okay.
And then I want you to look at your hands without bending your head at about a 4 to 5 degree angle.
Okay.
That is NLP, getting right into your emotions. And you're going to lock that detachment and that peace you felt when you felt those feelings change. And look at your hands for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was easy. I'm going to ask you now. Think about that problem and give it a number.
Oh, it's like a 2. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Isn't that awesome?
It is. It is.
Do that
That is
any
interesting.
subject, anytime. And it's great to exercise and get all your aggression out, but you can't jog when your boss just yelled at you or you had a conflict with someone. You have to have the thing, but you can't excuse yourself to the bathroom or go into the other room and just cross your ankles and cross your hands and just think about that BS
Yeah.
for a few minutes. And it gets you out of the amygdala of the argument, because that's where you are when you're fighting. And
Yeah.
it gets you into the hemisphere. Now, the brain is so brilliant that whatever we just worked on, so it's going to go, oh, but this is linked to your idiosyncrasies that you got when you were 6 years old, and that time that boyfriend said this, and that time that thing, and it continues to unravel because it uses your left and right brain together to solve the issue instead of it just staying in your fear brain, where the subconscious is just on its own.
Oh, I just love that. That is such a good tool for anyone
Oh
to
my
just be able
God.
to do.
And when you get like seriously shitty news, I'm sorry, language,
No, no, you're good.
I curse like a sailor sometimes. But when you get this news, these rocking baloney stuff that you're like, what the freaking freak? You're going to go through it. And in the middle of all that, and sometimes, and especially when the doctors are talking to me about stuff I don't understand and
Yeah.
they don't understand, I go into whole brain while they're talking to me.
Yeah, because I know what
Because
it's like to
I need
have
my
physical
brain to be thinking
yeah.
and absorbing, because in your fear brain, that's why they always say you need to bring someone with you when you go to those serious doctor
Yeah.
appointments. You do, because you can't hear anything because you're stuck in your amygdala. You've got brain fog. You don't even know what they just said because you're like, I'm dead. I think they just said I'm dead. When they
Yeah.
said that they didn't know, I was like, we just don't even know what to do. And your pressure is so high. Could you just get into bed now and don't move till we can figure out what we can do with you? Just don't. And I had been pushing it the whole week there. I was like sightseeing, like breathing but I wanted to go to the sponge docks, and I was going to the thing, and I was like, oh my God, I was a ticking time bomb, and I freaked out. But I did bring my best friend. It's so funny. Who are you? They said. She goes, I'm her sister. And they said nothing else.
Well,
Like,
it's interesting
genius.
because when you're in that situation, and I've been in that situation because I have health issues as well, and I get it. Like, I truly get it. Not to what you're going through, obviously, but I get from my point of view. And I know
Oh,
what it's
you're
like. They
not
say,
going what
okay,
I'm
you
going
need to
through either.
calm
And it's
down.
scary what you do.
You need to bring your heart rate down. I've been there. And it's like, okay, you telling me to do that is not helping me do that. Like, show
But
me the
this, you
tools on
can't
how to do
stop it.
that.
If you can just remember to do this and
Right.
just sit there in the pain, and it always works when you're tweaked. When you are like unconsolable about something, that's when you hit that button. And it's, I always say, when the more emotional you get in whole brain, you're fixing bigger things.
Yeah.
And it's non-talking. So you have people, and even children who can't speak. They don't have talking ability, right? Communication abilities. You can put them in whole brain, and their left and right hemispheres are working again. And it's just a physical thing that sets you off. Here's another beautiful thing. And I got this from Sonia Choquette from she's from Hay House, and she is a wonderful
I
lady
love
that
Hay
teaches
House.
you how to work with spirit. And she teaches you to drop down into your heart chakra. And I do this before I do a session, and
Okay.
it's just breathing. This is a really good one. So,
Okay.
but people forget to do this because you got to calm down and get in your breath.
Right.
Everybody hates it.
Okay. All right. You
My
show
kids
me.
hate that I say go into whole brain. It really annoys them. But I'm like, it works though. So what you do is you just breathe in, and then you sigh, like sigh. ah,
Like that? Okay.
just a bit. You have to sigh loudly, like ah.
Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
Ah,
Oh,
exactly. And you
okay.
keep breathing like that till you feel your shoulders drop and you drop into your heart.
Okay.
Ah, hold your
Oh,
heart. Put your hand on your heart so you can feel it when it drops. Ah, you'll feel that feeling just melt from your shoulders to your heart. And then life is good. You got the angels in with you, baby. That's you
oh,
in your real heart space.
I love that. I love that.
It's,
It's so beautiful. Thank you for
ah,
showing these techniques. This
these
is
are so
amazing.
powerful.
So it sounds like you this is the energy psychology and then you said the psyche. So that sounds like it's kind of
Psyche.
intertwined, psyche. Um, now how does
Right.
hypnosis
Psyche is a process that links NLP, hypnosis.
okay,
It's an incredible process made by Rob Williams. And I was certified in on several levels. I spent I'm going to share my daughter's story too, just real
okay.
quick.
Yes,
It's
please.
a very serious story. How I found Psyche.
Okay.
I was Synchronicity is beautiful. So I was going through troubled times. I was going through all this illness, right?
Yeah.
That weird things happening to me. My boyfriend at the time got cancer also. Weird
Oh,
stuff was going on. My daughter had so needless to say, I saw this Course in Miracles course online, friend of a friend of a friend, just show up. I'm like, okay. I showed up at this doorstep. I opened it up. It was someone I knew for like 10 years. She used to be my sister-in-law's best friend. And she goes, Amber, what are you doing here? I'm like, Susan, what are we doing here? And we ended up in A Course in Miracles. My daughter had a crisis, and she always allows me to talk about this because this is a big deal. My daughter has severe depression and anxiety, and she had called me the week before or the day before, screaming at the side of the not at the side of the road, I'm gonna crash the car, I'm gonna kill myself. It's like Jesus Christ. So I yelled at her as a mom does, just pull over. And just I just went into mom mode. I don't know
right.
if that helps anybody, but that's what I did. And I yelled at her, I'm like, just pull over, I'll come get you. And she's like, I need help, mom, I need help. And I'm like, okay, I'll get you help. But we've already done psychologist. She was already on medication. There isn't any, I didn't know what to do. And every time in the circle where I was talking to Susan, she goes, and I'm a psychiatry practitioner. And I'm like, okay, whatever that is. Right. And I wrote to her. I was like, okay, my daughter had a severe issue. Is this help? She goes, oh, come on in. I kid you not. I brought my daughter in there, and I stayed with Devin, and we did a few muscle testings, and she tested weak to life. And I'm up here with anxiety about this because since she was 8 years old, I've been dealing with the fact that she's not wanted to be here. And for no apparent reason, like she just doesn't. I saw her in 45 freaking minutes, maybe an hour, change from weak to life to not only her not having those feelings anymore or sense, to me not having those feelings or sense. And it wasn't even happening to me. I was just watching it happen to her. And
Wow.
we have none of that anymore. I mean, when I say none of that, We don't have any. Yes, she has anxiety. Yes, she forgets to take her medicine, and she has things. She hasn't tried to commit suicide. She hasn't felt like she didn't want to belong here anymore. Unfreaking believable. I said, what magic did I just see in front of me? And I spent the next 4 years studying it, spending every dollar I had, what I didn't have, going to find out how to get this process.
And this is the
And to
Psych
find
K.
out that it's Psych K.
Wow, what a release.
Oh my God. I mean, unbelievable. Another, okay, here's a side note, because it's not as serious as all of that. I lost 100 flipping pounds. I did 3 sessions with this lovely lady.
Yeah.
And continue to do the classes. And I lost 100 pounds. I wasn't trying to lose 100 pounds. I lost it because I was dealing with all of these things that came out of me. And I didn't say a word. Devin didn't tell her anything about her life. Devin felt the feelings of feeling that were inside her in a state of subconsciousness. And the subconscious went, oh, that isn't very useful to anything, and has continued to just put all the parts together. I didn't think about losing. It's so funny. This is how the brain works. So I lose 100 pounds without thinking about it. I even forget to tell everybody at our groups. Susan's like, tell them you lost the weight. I'm like, oh yeah, I lost 100 pounds.
Oh yeah, and by the way.
And she goes, you forget. And I'm like, I do. I don't even think about food. I don't even think about weighing myself. I never even thought about it. Every time I went to the doctor, I was just 10 pounds lighter, 10 pounds lighter. And it wasn't like fast, like they were worried about it, but it was over 2 years.
Yeah.
And I just was 10 pounds lighter and 10 pounds lighter. And we were always laughing about it, that I always forget. And then when I got worse, and they threatened me with a lung transplant. They said, we're going to put you on the lung transplant list.
Yeah.
Or to get, what do you call it? To be reviewed to see if you qualify for one. I gained 15 pounds and I didn't gain weight. And we found out that it was because I didn't want a lung transplant. And as soon as I realized that I had the control over my body, that I get to choose how I go. They don't get to tell me I have to go through all of this. I can just choose to pass when I want to pass. I know that's morbid. I know it's weird. But if my lungs go out, I get to choose if I decide to go then. I don't have to go through a lung transplant. I don't have to be tortured. I don't have to be on their I don't have to be on their idea of what my life was supposed to be like. Right?
Yeah.
This program or this thing. How many people can we get on the program? How much that whole thing scared me so badly that I went from losing weight every month to, the next month I was 15 pounds heavier. Like, I'm not going to be the weight you're telling me to be. And it was hilarious because I think it's hilarious. I was like, that is so stupid. Why would I not continue to lose weight? And then we just connected it. It was like, you don't want to lose weight, because if you lose weight, then you'll have to have the lung transplant and you have no excuse why you can't have one. Like, oh my God. And then as soon as it was my choice again, as soon as I gave the power back to me, I started dropping weight and dropping weight. And I'm still eating really healthy. It's really slow, but that's okay.
But you choose. And that
I am willing to get to the life-saving weight now. And it's still my choice whether I walk down that road.
It is your choice. I love that. Oh my gosh. I don't know, our viewers, if they watch my face, I go from like, oh my gosh, like I am enthralled with everything that you have said. It is incredible.
Yeah. And if I hadn't had the Psych K and in between, because I was sitting on a couch, I took every course there was. I couldn't move. So I was just like,
And how long ago
No,
was this for your daughter?
that was 2016, 2017. That was the height of it.
So 6 years ago. Wow. And she's
6
doing
years ago. And
well? Like
she's fantastic. She's got her own ball of wax, but she has always been her own ball of wax, you know?
we all have a
Um,
ball of wax, right? It's just the way it
exactly.
goes.
We all have to get out of our own way. And once
Yeah.
she figures that out and that she has the choice, when she realizes how empowered she is, she'll be
Yeah.
fine. But she has psyche now, but it removed that. And I believe, I know now because I've studied it, that
Mhm.
subconscious is still working on those blocks because we said, hey, we're strong to life. And now we've
Yeah.
changed that within her. It's constantly working on that. It's going to, whenever she hits a barrel, it's going to go, oh, that's part of this problem. And puts
Yeah.
it in the right place.
Wow.
As long as you stay out of the fear brain. That's why
Yeah.
I keep telling her. Now I don't yell at her, pull off the road. I'm like, go into whole brain.
You know what? Going into mom mode, there's reasons for that, and it's okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
No, that's
terrible. I
awesome.
know. I always look at it backwards. I was like, geez, I really shouldn't have yelled. I
No.
shouldn't have like cursed at her. Get off the freaking road. But and then I
But she probably needed to hear the mom voice, right? She
she
needed
did.
that. So
She
that's
needed to
okay
hear the
too.
stop and I'm coming to get you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh,
So
thank you for sharing all of that. And I just, oh my gosh, before, like, there's more that I want to ask you. So tell us a little bit
sure.
about your art and your poetry. Our viewers would love to hear more about that.
I'm an artist in a most abstract kind of way. This is my journal. So I do fun stuff.
Oh my
I tend
gosh,
to
look
be
how
very flowery,
beautiful.
but I
The
never think about what I'm
colors.
doing. So yeah, aren't they beautiful?
Absolutely.
That's
And
what
I
I'm
love the
attracted to. This
gold.
one was
You've
a
got
fun.
gold in there.
Oh yeah. I don't think you can not use gold or glitter. I'm never going to be
Right?
in I'm never
Yes.
going to be fine art,
It's
but because the gold and
beautiful.
glitter are my groups.
Now, do
But
you
yeah,
sell your
that's
art? Like, are you on Etsy or anything like that?
no, I haven't done that yet. I keep threatening to do it. But these are just my journals.
Oh,
And I have this great journal. I have to tell you, this is made by Markings because I got to say the name because it has 420 pages. It lasts me about 6 months, but it has, I even, I even paint in the lined
oh,
area. It's terrible, but it has lines, it has grids, and it has
yeah.
a sketchbook in the back.
What an awesome journal.
It is, and it's by Markings by Gibson.
I gotta write
And
that
you
down.
can get it
Markings by
on,
Gibson.
yeah. And I get mine at Walgreens here. That's
Okay.
where I usually pick it up. But you can get it on Amazon. It's slightly more expensive on
Yeah.
Amazon always,
Yeah.
but still worth it because I always get them. And I've I've kept these journals for a long time because they're so great for creativity. But I write poems and they come out with the artwork and
Yeah.
I, it just happens. And I I've always been writing. I haven't been able to get out of my journal yet. Well, I say that. I have two books that I haven't published yet of
Okay.
poetry.
Oh,
Um,
I would love
and
to
I
read
have a
sometime.
children's
I'm a
book
poet.
I haven't done yet either.
Yeah.
But again, it's fully written, fully illustrated, not by me. My best friend illustrated when we were 20. And I think we got our first 3 rejection letters and we're like, okay, we're good. And we moved on to our life. She became a lawyer. She was
Yeah.
an artist at the time and then became a lawyer. And then I moved on with like, island hopping and stuff. And we forgot about it. But it's, you're creative, you're creative. I think it's so
Yeah.
important that especially I think I've been more creative in the last 6 years in all this trouble and the anxiety than I have been in my whole life. Like
Yeah.
it's because I guess I'm closer to God. I'm closer. I hear. I know I'm really woo woo. I know that I hear spirit. A friend of mine passed away a couple of years ago. This was a big deal too, because my friend, she had respiratory polyps when she was born.
Okay.
She suffered 120 operations in her life.
Oh my
And then
goodness.
she passed away. And she didn't on her 55th birthday. And I was younger than her. And I was like, oh my God, Christine didn't even make it to 55. Like, if she didn't make it, how am I going to make it? She was always my inspiration. She became a pharmacist at like 40. And, became a doctor of pharmacy the year before she passed away. Like, she was like always living life. She couldn't even see. She got glasses to see, no excuses. Went to work with a stroke. I know I'm having a stroke, but I'm going to work. She's throwing her. I'm like, no, you're supposed to be driving to the hospital after work. So, I mean, she's just such an inspiration of like, you don't make excuses, you live. You live. You never can have babies. She had babies. You never can do this. She did it. Always, always. She was my thing. She was my person to look up to. And she would always say, Amber, but you got to give yourself a break. I'm like, you don't give yourself a break because it's different. Stop trying to emulate me. The minute she passed, she talks to me. I was like, a week later, I was crying. I was missing her so much. And I said, I just want to talk to you. And it's so hard. And I heard her from heaven. Well, you're not listening very hard. And I'm like, well, shit, that's how they talk to you? You can hear them answering you back if you just remember exactly what they said. Well, you're not listening very hard. And she's with me all the time. And she always, when her spirit comes to me, she always holds my ears and wraps herself around me. And I know it's her. She's so beautiful. And she's like, we don't die. We don't die. And the love is always here. It never dies. I'm always with you. You can talk about the stupid onions with me at the store still. Just want to talk. All of us do, but that was my freeing time. That was the realization. We don't die. I get to make the decisions in my life. She made the decisions in her life. She went, I think it too. They say, oh, she didn't want to die. She was so strong. I think she knew this was her stop. Like this was her opportunity. Like, I'm done. I'm tired of this now. 55 years of fighting. She was born sick. And, she's like, but she inspires everyone and inspires me. My daughter inspires me to be better.
Yeah.
So every day I do. Okay, so we'll just do really quickly because I know that I talked too much.
No, you don't. It's perfect.
I have stories. However, every morning I get up, I meditate. Okay. I light incense. I do, incense or essential oils, whatever I need to bring out. And whatever just makes me feel good. I muscle test for it, see what I need. I do my meditation. I write in my journal whatever comes up, whatever answers, whatever the spirit has to say to me. Sometimes, call it my CSO, Chief Spiritual Officer.
Oh, I love it.
And I talk to my higher power and source and God. I call it God, but no one has to give anything a label. And I just ask, what do I need to know today? What is important to me today for a good life? And then I do a couple of my processes. I can teach you a few more later. And the things that come up, I do the whole brain for. So I do the psyche and I put in some good stuff. It's a little bit more complicated as you want to move things, but I do a stress release. I do the thing. I move on to my day. I fill my life up with beautiful things. I read something really healthy. I listen to Abraham Hicks, love them. And I go to my day, which might not be a great day, but that's okay because I gave myself as much as I could. Zig Ziglar says he was confronted and said, well, this motivational stuff doesn't work. And he goes, well, neither, it doesn't stick. And he goes, well, neither does a bath. You have to do it daily.
Yeah.
And
that's so true.
You got to bathe in the good stuff daily. And that's why I say, always have fun today. Make fun because the other shit finds you. The fun you have to make. And do something fun you love every day. Go to the beach. If it's putting your feet in the sand, I can't always get to the beach, but I got dogs. I got, I got my beautiful tree. I'm not sure if you know how obsessed I am about my tree, but I have a tree in my backyard that every May and June she starts to bloom. And that's it. My heart is just healed. I do get down in my heart. I am thankful every day. I am blessed to be on this planet and get to be with people who just want to share their life with me. How can it get any better than this?
Doesn't. Oh, I think you just answered the last question I was going to ask you. What makes your soul soar?
That's it.
That's
Right
it.
there. Yep.
Well, Amber, thank you for letting us bathe in you, in the colors of you, in the delight of you, in the poetry in motion of you. I have learned so much today, and I cannot wait to have you back on the show again. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
I would love to anytime.
Oh, thank you so much, Amber.
Anytime. Thank you so